Welcome to IAmCreationPodcast.
Dorota Stańczyk, transformational artist, speaker, author, founder of INNERART Transformational Center.
My mission in this life was to produce, to do, to achieve, to become someone. More I was embracing that journey, more I was feeling disconnected from my true self. I was told I will have to be on the medications for the rest of my life, that my condition was incurable. On the fourth day of my experience, I had a disconnection from this body. I would start to see the energy again. I would start to have clairvoyance dreams. I would start to recognize frequencies and vibrations. Where should I start? People do not know where should they start when they go through something difficult. No one is looking at all of the aspects of who we are, and who we are is not just mental. It's not just physical. It's always everything that shows up in your reality, in your surrounding, is a representation of what is going inside of you. It's important to learn to make a difference between your mind desires and your heart desires. Life is never taking from you. It's always giving you.
And today we will take you on a journey to learn how we can recreate ourselves, how we can come back to our potential, to the self-love, and how we can create the life we want. And I want to share an amazing story that happened to me during Mayan Valley. Today I went to the soulgasm practice, and it was amazing and powerful practice, and like I connected to my higher self, and I was flying somewhere, and at some moment I couldn't come back to my body. I was lying down there. I was hearing all the voices, and the person that was leading the practice told that, okay, you can come back, and the people were sharing their feedbacks. But I was hearing everything, but I couldn't come back to the body, and it was like, oh my God, I need to come back. And yeah, I was sitting, and still I felt that I was not in the body. And then Dorota came to me, and she looked at me, and you're not in your body at all. No, I can't ground myself. I just can't. So she helped me to ground. At some moment, I've started to feel the sensations in my hands, in my body, and then she touched my belly, and I felt heat. It was so warm, and then it was explosion. And like, I don't know what's happened to me, but I really want to know what were you doing, how you learned it. I really want to hear the story. I know that you were entrepreneur, and how I like to say human doing before, but then you became a human being through your own journey of healing. You finally embraced your gift. I really want to hear this story and how you came to it. And yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you first of all, thank you so much for trusting me and allowing me to help you in that moment, because it's not given. This has been a gift that has been, for a longest time, very difficult gift to have. My entire family was psychic from generation to generation. There are clairvoyants, clairaudience, clairsentience. My father is a medium, and I could feel so much more than potentially any normal person when I was little. I could see energies. I had very big connection to the spirit world, but I was terrified by it.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to use those gifts. I didn't know how to navigate through that, and so I completely disconnected from it, what meant disconnecting from my body in general, numbing myself, not feeling this body. I didn't want to feel whatever was there to be felt. And that plus different traumas I went through, resulted in heart condition, and then incurable autoimmune disease. So it was years of battling and fighting against this body, against this physicality, against this life. It was a journey of surviving, not living, surviving, right? And so I got to the point where I really became a doer, because that was my only option. I just sort of numb myself, and my mission in this life was to produce, to do, to achieve, to become someone.
I can
right?
relate to it, yeah.
And so I was very good at it. So I became very successful at that. But more I was embracing that journey, more I was feeling disconnected from my true self. And I realized that, you know, our core of who we are, our divine essence, is something that cannot be created. It's something that cannot be uncreated. It's something that simply is, and has to be, it can only be experienced. And so everything we will create on top of it or around it, such as our personality, our belief system, our alter egos, all of that disconnect us more and more from that essence we have within all of us. And so when I realized that, I spent half of my life creating myself, and then I have to spend the rest of my my probably life here on earth on uncreating myself and uncreating everything I have constructed around myself. And that is never-ending journey, but this is how it all began. And it began when I was 25 years old, when I had my first Vipassana experience. And I was at the lowest point in life. Everything was collapsing. My relationship, my career, I was in a massive transition. My health was, I was told I will have to be on the medications for the rest of my life, that my condition was incurable, that I will, in the worst scenario of my disease, my bladder would be removed. It was a bladder condition. And it was just, everything was so heavy that I just collapsed. And in that moment, for the first time probably in my life, I truly surrendered. And that surrendered guided me to a very particular monastery in Thailand, to a very particular Rinpoche who taught me Vipassana. And on the fourth day of my experience, I had a disconnection from this body, from what I knew was true of who I was. And I would experience myself from a very different place, from the place of awareness, from the place of consciousness. I would start to see the energy again. I would start to have clairvoyance dreams. I would start to recognize frequencies and vibrations. And within that moment, my healing began. And I can proudly say that it's been now over 12 years without any medications.
Wow.
For my incurable so-called disease. And from that moment, I dedicated my life to mastering that gifts and that awareness. Awareness can't be really mastered, but I dedicated myself to the practice of being fully present with who I was and what was there for me to express in this life. And it was also sort of a promise that I couldn't possibly know what was the best expression of my gifts in this life. And so I trusted life to guide me there. And I said, I don't care if I'm supposed to become a nurse, if I'm supposed to become an actress, if I'm supposed to become a retreat organizer or healer. Just show me wherever you want me to be, to my greatest capacity, help people. And that has been the journey, and it's still the journey. So I do not attach to any facets of myself. I can be here right now sitting and doing, working on those specific projects in my life, but it doesn't matter. I'm not those projects, and I'm not that identity. It's just an expression in this moment.
Yeah, so your disease in reality become the point when you awaken yourself and
Yes.
you reconnect with your potential, with the gift given by the universe to you, and it really changed your life.
Absolutely.
So how did you feel when you finally embraced this gift and started to live, to recreate yourself and live completely new life when the higher self is guiding you? How does it feel to be in this flow and to create from this flow and to be connected to the higher self?
There is a good side and quite more tricky side, because after you go through your first awakening, and I do believe we have many in this life, you truly want to disconnect from everything you knew previously, and you want to ideally go to the forest and meditate for the rest of your life and disengage from this society, from this life, from this previous lives, because it's so, you start to see how much you stop understanding why people could live differently to that new state that you've just experienced. And so this is what happened to me. I didn't want to engage with anything that I previously knew, and that was previously my truth. And so I disconnected to many people I knew, to many projects, to sort of like my life completely shifted. But I became a hermit, and I kind of isolated myself from everything, because I needed to integrate what has happened to me, and it took me 2 years of integration. I was still functioning, but I was disengaged with life in the way that that I know for certain today that I have to be. And so I realized only after that the goal here, when you understand sort of the difference between your new state and the old state, and you see all the things that are happening in the world, the war, etc. It's not enough to just say, I don't want to be a part of it. This is wrong, and sort of look at something else. It's not enough. You need to take all the gifts, all the wisdom, all the awareness, your new consciousness, and do as much as you can to make other people awaken. And so, right?
Yeah, it's like, I love it. It's like...
And so later I understood, okay, it's that the point is not for me to just heal myself. The point for me is to master this to my greatest capacity, create shortcuts for people, give people tools and methodologies that can, fasten their path to that place of freedom, to that place of that connection within themselves. And therefore I started to, back in that day, write a book that now is published. I started to work on many different methodologies. I started to study with neuroscience, cognitive psychology, Eastern medicine, and everything my intuition was guiding me to study, to really understand and combine those essences of those different practices to give people those shortcuts, like how we can make it easier and faster for people, so they don't have to spend 10 years of struggling like I did, and then the next 10 years of learning about how can I actually navigate through that world. And so also when all of those gifts suddenly heightened and my psychic abilities suddenly awakened, it was so intense, because when you keep the pot closed for so long, when you finally open it up, so much things start to come up to the surface, and it's extremely terrifying. It's extremely overwhelming. It's extremely heavy. And it takes time to liberate that. So I had to really, and still it's never ending process. I had to spend a lot of time on clearing and purifying myself, this body, this physical body, this energy body, all of my light bodies, to get to the point where my intuition would be clear. Because what happens with our intuition is whatever your intuition is telling you through a feeling, this feeling is filtered through everything that is stuck in this body. Yeah. And so if you have accumulated a lot of trapped emotions, trauma, transgenerational traumas, and absorb different energy imprints and blockages from your surrounding, from people around you, you will feel all of that. Not only you will feel it, people will feel all of that from you, right? So you can be great with your mind. You can be great. You can have a phenomenal mindset, but still, what people will feel is what is present within this body energetically. And so that the same thing happens with your intuition. Your intuition will filter through all of that. So what you will actually get at the end will be very unclear picture, very distorted by everything you're holding on to. And so you cannot possibly be guided by your intuition until you clear your body from all of the traumas that are trapped inside of it. And so that process of clearing was another journey of years. And I finally got to the point where I could really feel the frequencies and the energies in the body so clearly and specifically that it was very easy for me to say, looking at someone, what exactly was trapped inside of them, purely by recognizing the vibration of that energy.
Wow.
And that clarity, I think, is the biggest gift I discovered within myself.
Wow, this is a real gift, and I'm so happy that you finally gave the permission to yourself to embrace this gift and to connect to this gift, so you can support us. You supported me today, so I'm so happy that we had this experience, so I can learn more about your story and how you came there. And I'm sure the listeners listening to this story, like all these woo-woo things, etc., that people are talking about, it's terrifying, because a lot of people, they don't know what to do with these gifts. They don't know how to live with this gift. There is no manual what you need to do first, second, third step, etc. And like I can only imagine how it's to live with this and spend so many years without not accepting it, right? And finally you embrace it, and finally your life start to change. My question would be, like, now you are supporting people, but is there any way for people to clean themselves on a daily life? I know that you are supporting people through the sessions, right? But if there are any life hacks or that we can use, that listeners can use in their daily life to have this like clean body and to raise the vibrations and stay on a higher frequency. So how we can support each other, support our physical body, our energetic body, emotional body to stay clean.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the biggest shortcut that I've learned, the biggest shortcut. We often want to find a story behind everything. We want to understand. We want to find the root. We want to see. And it makes the entire process longer, because actually the story is not needed. The story is just a story. What is important is the energy that is behind the story that has to be released. And so that already, to start with, we can let go of. What is really important to do, whenever you feel you have a trapped emotion, or whenever you feel heaviness, because your trapped emotions will be awakened by situations in your life by triggers that are pointing onto them to tell you, hey, there is something within you that has to be released. Trigger never exists in the present moment. It only relates to the past. Because if I erase your entire memory, you would not be triggered.
Yeah.
So you receive a trigger based on what has happened to you previously, so that the same emotion, the same assumption is created, and the same emotion of the trigger is generated through the body. And so in such a situation, what is the easiest thing to do that comes from Ancient Tibetan and Qigong practice is to simply try to feel where is the emotion in the body, right? So it's very first question, where do I feel it in the body? Okay, let's say, okay, I feel a tension in my chest. Can you close your eyes and give it a shape? Can you give it a shape? Can you give it a color? Can you give it texture, right? And you just feel into it. And then what we try to do with closed eyes, we try to go with our awareness, with our consciousness in the middle of that sensation. And we try to amplify it, make it bigger and make it louder. And we make it so that it becomes everything. And so whatever we feared previously regarding that emotion, we dissolve that fear because we realize there's nothing to fear. We are in it and nothing is happening. And we stay in that state for as long as needed. And usually is seconds, sometimes can be minutes. But you see, if you will give this enough presence and attention and acceptance, that it starts to slowly dissolve. It starts to transform. It starts to change. It starts to shift. And you will see it. You will see it happening with your eyes closed. That the texture won't be the same anymore. The texture will start to change. The color will start to change. And you just witness that for as long as it's needed, until you feel the lightness and you feel that something was liberated. You might cough, you might yawn, you might shake, but you have to simply stay with it. And so in that simple tool allows us within minutes shift any emotion, and it's one of honestly the most powerful tools every human being should have. But we forget we do have that tool. Sometimes even I forget, and we feel that something is uncomfortable, and we still won't sit and won't, take this 5 minutes to actually go there. We will try to numb it. We will try to distract ourselves from it, from that negative emotion that is trapped inside of that. Many of us will use different distraction, alcohol, television, work, sex, whatever that is. You will use distraction to not feel your body until it's so intense that it cannot be ignored anymore. Right? And it's often when we get to that point when it's almost too much, it really becomes a quite intense moment, because we'll have to break. And life will have to push us to that point to break us. But it's so important to remember that break is not there to hurt us. It's there to liberate us,
to show us,
to break the walls we've created around ourselves, so that all the fears and grievances can be liberated from inside of us. All those trapped emotions, all those traumas. That's why life breaks us, because otherwise we hold on to all our traumas so much, and we don't want to let go. Right? And so it has to say, no, you know what? I won't allow you to walk like that through life anymore. I will break you. And what is very beautiful analogy from Kintsugi art. You know Kintsugi?
No.
Kintsugi art is a beautiful art practice in Japan that whatever was broken, let's say a glass or a plate, they put it back together with gold.
With gold.
With gold.
Wow.
And so the idea is that the plate becomes much more beautiful than before. But what is interesting about this, if you break it again, it never breaks in the same spots.
Wow.
And I think it's a beautiful analogy to as human. Wherever you break in one way, or life will break you in one way, you will never break in the future in the same way ever again. Yeah. And that is really important to remember. We will always keep breaking because we have to go through that process of becoming and unbecoming, creating and destroying. But it will always be different.
It's like, it's crazy. I feel like we should learn this kind of emotional intelligence at schools, so we don't create this kind of situations when all our emotions are stuck in our body. Then we need to spend years to heal it, to release it, to transform this energy and to recreate ourselves. And the most worst thing that it brings so many disease, and we have to struggle, we have to suffer to liberate ourselves from all these trapped emotions and attachments. And it's crazy how most of the people live unconsciously the life without awareness. And if people learn just this simple tool, it doesn't take a long time, right? But you stay with the emotions, you become aware, you feel it, and you release it. And it brings a lot of freedom.
Absolutely.
Like really, it brings a lot of freedom, and we feel more healthy, and we bring more vitality, and we have more energy flow. And from this energy, we can create these things.
Absolutely.
And the next question would be about your creation. So when you finally embraced your gift and you wanted to support other people, and I know that you're creating retreats in Bali, so I would love to hear more. What is the big vision and idea for your creation, for the retreats that you do, and what kind of experience you bring to people?
We are doing, retreats not only in Bali. I love doing retreats in Bali, but I do it in all sort of places, retreats and then bigger events, bigger conferences. And we are currently as well are in the process of creating a space, a retreat center, building actually a physical location for those type of events that will have body, mind, spirits, all very new, very all methodologies, all the tools that are necessary for us to sort of embrace that transformation quicker and in a more pleasurable way.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. But I feel like there is not many places in general where you can go and sign in and be like, I'm divorcing right now. Where should I start? Like, where should I start? People do not know where should they start when they go through something difficult. There is no manual to say, okay, well, start with meditation, then the breath work, then this, then that. No, there is so many things available. And so for someone who has never touched upon personal development, they don't know where to start. And so we want to create spaces where people won't just be treated unpersonally, part of the group, and design, one program for everyone. We want to create a unique space where everyone will be interviewed, and based on their specific needs and issues and blockages, the program will be designed for them.
Wow.
And that doesn't exist yet. And I think this is what is needed. Like, if I, let's say, had a miscarriage and I really need to deal with those emotions right now, I want to go somewhere, not necessarily with a group, but I want to be held. I want someone to tell me, okay, we're going to purify your body. We're going to take care of you spiritually. We're going to, do some exercises to release that, but do some psychological work as well. No one is looking at all of the aspects of who we are, and who we are is not just mental. It's not just physical. It's not just energetic. It's all of it, right? And we have to look at ourselves. If you want to truly heal and transform, you cannot touch only one part of who you are. You need to transform yourself on all of the levels. So you need to work on your mind. You need to release your subconscious, reprogram your subconscious. You need to heal your body. You need to work on your. You have to work on your energy body as well and your light bodies. And if you won't look all of those areas, something will basically stay untouched, and therefore the transformation won't be possible. And so this is my big dream, this is my big vision, to create those spaces all around the world. And
so not only in Bali but also in other countries.
Oh yes, that's definitely a big vision. But then, all is up to the universe. If it's meant to be, it's gonna happen. If it's not meant to be, I will be somewhere else doing this work.
And the most beautiful thing, you don't need to do it alone. When we come from the space of me, then we go to the space of we, and when we heal ourselves, we always attract the people that are ready to co-create with us and support us with our big mission.
Yes.
And I really resonate with what you were saying, because you have the program Recreation. My program is IAmCreation, and the idea of the program is also to bring the teachers. I'm bringing like 10, 12 teachers to work on the mind, heart, and body coherence, because for me, as a leader, as a business person, as a mother, etc., what I realized that before I was working in my mind, then I was healing my body, then I started to work with my heart, healing. And when I finally created this heart, mind, and body coherence, like I finally feel this center inside, and I'm aligned with my higher self. And it's completely different quality of life. And this is what I'm bringing also during my experiences. So I'm really resonated with your message. And it's amazing that the universe brings, or how to say, we are attracting each other, the people that have
always
same mission, vision. We are just like magnets coming together. And I'm sure all together with this big desire that comes from the heart to support people, to change this to change this world, and to support people to become better human beings than human doings. And it's amazing how we all come together. And you attract who you are. And always everything that shows up in your reality, in your surrounding, is a representation of what is going inside of you. Everything external is just an extension of who you are. It's a direct feedback of where you are at. Yes.
Right?
Yes. And what would be your advice, for people that are on this spiritual path, on the journey? Like, it's very important to some people use the word manifest, etc. But what would be your advice for people, how they can create their reality, the life that they want? What would be your advice based on all the journey that you had from being entrepreneur, and you're still an entrepreneur, etc. You're still doing this, let's say, you're still playing big in the material world, but at the same time, you do the thing that you're passionate about. So what would be your advice?
How to manifest? I would say you should get clear on where your desires come from. First, before you manifest anything. It's very easy to manifest. It really is. We got to the point where law of attraction became something that can be almost hacked. But you often realize, once you manifest what you think you need or want, it never is quite satisfying where you get there. Right? Yes. You get there and it's like, it looked quite different in my mind.
I want more.
I want something else. I want something different, because we chase actually a feeling. We don't chase external representation of it. We think that this is what we want will give us that satisfaction, that feeling, that emotion. But very rarely it does. And so it's important to learn to make a difference between your mind desires and your heart desires. And now your mind desires are always rooted in fear. I want to build this transformational center because I want to feel safe. I want to be recognized by the community. I want to feel appreciated, so I don't want to be rejected by people. I don't want to be excluded because it will be my place, for example. And so it always rooted in some sort of fear.
Wow.
I don't want to be alone, right? And the mind desires will always give you an image, very specific image. That's what I want. Very clear vision.
Yeah.
And lots of people will tell you, focus on that vision and visualize it and imagine it. And yes, you will be able to manifest that, but I promise you, it will look very differently when you do. And it will feel very differently when you do. Heart desires are based in our intuition, are very different. Heart desires are never giving you a clear image. There is no image. There are impulses. Impulses of intuition that will tell you, go there, do this, meet with this person. And it will lead you towards right places, towards right people, towards right situations and projects that will fulfill your greatest potential on this planet. And when you get there, you will be like, wow,
yes,
I could not possibly imagine that as my life creation. I could not possibly come up with it with my mind. And that's what I find is beautiful to manifest in this life. So whatever you desire, ask yourself, why do I desire it? And can I let go and simply really trust my higher self to guide me? What will be the biggest expression of my divinity in this life?
And to be open and surrender to whatever will come, because we always attach to the result, but in reality it's so important to enjoy this beautiful path.
Yes.
And surrender and trust to the universe, and for sure the higher self will guide us to the right place. And
it always does.
I'm so happy that...
But it's important to say, your intuition will never guide you towards what's the most pleasurable.
Yeah.
Your intuition will always guide you where you can grow the most.
Wow.
And it's so important to remember that, because we often feel disappointed when we are guided when we let ourselves to be guided by our intuition, and we don't sort of still imagine where it will get us, right?
Yeah.
We still imagine what will be the outcome, and we feel disappointed when the outcome is not what we believed it should be. But I promise you, wherever your intuition guided you, there are enormous gifts hidden in every situation, in every relationship, in every place you are. Only you need to stop looking at that specific thing that you hope to find there, and see what else life is actually giving you, because that other thing will be so much more important than what you imagined originally. You know, so what you are going to receive will be so much more important than what you hope to receive. But you will not receive it until you can open up for it. So often we are stuck in deception. Oh my God, my relationship ended up in divorce. I'm so disappointed. And we'll spend years on being disappointed with life, with ourselves, with the other, blaming life. But looking at it from a completely different angle, it's like, hold on, what did I receive through that? And can I open up to that? What life is trying to give me through that situation? Because I can promise you, without any hesitation, that in every situation, through every situation, life is trying to give you something very valuable.
Yes.
Life is never taking from you. It's always giving you.
Thank you very much for
You need
this
to
reminder.
just remember to receive it and to open up for it. And to sort of, open up your perception to like, I am not receiving what I hoped for, but I am receiving something else. What is it? And can I be open up for it?
And grateful for it and embrace it.
Yes.
With full love and acceptance, whatever it comes for our growth and our healing. And I'm so happy that today we have this soulgasm that brought us to this soul connection, so we can have this amazing, beautiful conversation, and we can touch this topic of the
absolutely
guidance of the connection with the spirit, with the gifts. And thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you so much.
And yeah, I feel touched, and it's a good reminder for me to always trust my intuition, to trust my guides, and to enjoy this beautiful journey instead of trying imagine with my mind what do I really want to get, because in reality everything from my experience, when I'm trusting like my intuition, I always get it in a way that I couldn't even imagine. It's out of my imagination. So it was a great reminder to trust, surrender, and the higher self, the universe, will always guide us. So
always, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me here. It was such a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yay.
Cut.